Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today not to speak of my own strength nor of my own ability, but to declare the power that has been placed within me, a power that does not come from wealth, status, or the approval of man, but from something far greater. There are moments in life when the world will try to silence you. It will try to push you into the shadows, whispering that you are not strong enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough. But let me tell you something. When you walk with purpose, when you are filled with conviction, there is no force on this earth that can stop you. The storms will come, the trials will rise, the doubters will surround you. But my power is not shaken by fear, and my strength is not broken by adversity. Because my power is not my own. It is given by the one who has called me, who has chosen me, who has set me apart for something greater. I have walked through the fire and I did not burn. I have faced the giants and I did not fall. And I tell you today, whatever stands against me will not prevail. This is not arrogance, this is not pride. This is the unshakable confidence of someone who knows where they stand. Someone who knows that the mission they have been given is not a suggestion, it is a calling. And so I say to you, you will witness my power. You will see mountains move. You will see chains break. You will see the impossible bow before the unstoppable. Because this power is not just for me, it is for all who choose to walk in faith, in boldness, in purpose. So rise up, step forward, take hold of what has been placed within you, and let the world witness your power. Amen. There is a power that does not come from human hands. It is not built on the shifting sands of public opinion, nor does it crumble under the weight of opposition. This power is eternal, unshaken, and undeniable. It is the power that spoke the universe into existence, that breathed life into dust, that set the foundations of the earth and declared it is good. This power is not earned through effort, nor is it taken by force. It is given, it is appointed, it is placed upon those whom God has called for a purpose beyond themselves. The world will tell you that power belongs to the strong, to the wealthy, to the influential, but true power, real, unbreakable power, comes from divine authority. It is not found in titles, in wealth, in recognition. It is found in obedience, in surrender, in alignment with the will of something far greater than ourselves. There is a reason why some people rise above their circumstances while others are bound by them. There is a reason why a shepherd boy could stand before a giant with nothing but a sling and a stone, while entire armies cowered in fear. There is a reason why a man who was cast into a pit, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison could still rise to sit at the right hand of Pharaoh, and that reason is divine authority. When God places His power upon you, nothing can take it away. No man, no enemy, no force in this world can strip from you what has been divinely appointed. But understand this. Divine authority is not given for selfish ambition. It is not granted so that one might build a kingdom for themselves, but so that they may serve a kingdom that is far greater, far higher, and far more lasting than anything this world has to offer. Purpose without divine authority is nothing more than ambition. It is weak. It is fleeting. It is like a fire that burns bright for a moment and then fades into cold ashes. But when purpose is fueled by divine authority, it is unstoppable. It does not wither under pressure. It does not break in the face of resistance. It stands firm, unshaken, unmoved, because it does not rely on human strength, but on a power that has no limit. The world has always tried to stand against those who walk in divine authority. The voices of opposition have always shouted, "Who do you think you are? What makes you believe you can do this?" But when divine authority is upon you, those voices have no power, because you do not stand on your own ability, you stand on the calling that has been placed upon your life. When divine authority is upon you, doors open that no man can shut. When divine authority is upon you, paths are made straight that once seemed impossible. When divine authority is upon you, even the greatest obstacles become stepping stones for something greater. But understand this, divine authority does not come without responsibility. It is not given for comfort. It is not given so that life may be easy. It is given so that you may walk boldly into the unknown, so that you may carry out a mission that is greater than yourself. It is given so that you may stand when others fall, so that you may speak when others are silent. so that you may press forward when others turn back. And though the road may not be easy, though there will be moments of struggle, moments of doubt, moments where everything in you wants to quit, divine authority will sustain you. It will strengthen you. It will remind you that you were not called by accident, that you were not chosen by mistake, that your purpose is not something fragile but something eternal. You have been appointed. You have been chosen. You have been called. And when divine authority is upon you, nothing can stand against you. Doubt and fear are the greatest enemies of purpose. They do not come with force or violence, nor do they announce their arrival with great noise. Instead, they creep in quietly, whispering questions that shake the very foundation of your confidence. Are you sure you can do this? What if you fail? What if you're not good enough? These voices do not shout, they whisper. And it is in those whispers that the greatest battles are fought, not in the open fields where enemies can be seen, but in the secret places of the mind and heart, where only you and God can hear the war that rages. Fear is a thief. It does not come to warn you, to protect you, or to help you. It comes to steal from you, to take your courage, your vision, and your strength. It paralyzes you, keeping you from stepping forward into what you were meant to do. It convinces you to stay where it is safe, where it is comfortable, where there is no risk. But the greatest enemy of purpose is not failure, it is never trying at all. And doubt? Doubt is the poison that weakens even the strongest hearts. It makes you question what you once knew for certain. It makes you hesitate when you should move. It makes you turn back when you should press forward. It does not attack your body, it attacks your belief. And once belief is broken, everything else begins to fall apart. But hear me when I say this. Doubt and fear are liars. They have no power except the power you give them. They do not speak truth, they distort it. They do not warn you, they deceive you. They do not protect you, they keep you from stepping into the fullness of your purpose. Look throughout history and you will see that the greatest victories were won by those who chose to walk forward in spite of their fear. The strongest warriors were not those who felt no fear, but those who refused to let fear stop them. Fear, said David, could not defeat Goliath. He was too small, too young, too inexperienced. But David did not listen. He stepped forward when others stepped back, and a single stone in the hands of faith brought down a giant. Doubt told Moses he was not capable. He was not a speaker, he was not a leader, he was not the right man for the job. And yet, through faith, a man who once hid in the wilderness stood before the most powerful ruler in the world and demanded, "Let my people go." Fear told Peter to stay in the boat. The waves were too high, the storm was too strong, and the water was not solid ground. But for a moment, in the face of fear, he stepped out. He walked on water because faith told him something that fear could not, that the power to do the impossible was not in his own strength, but in the one who called him forward. And so I ask you today, what has fear stolen from you? What has doubt convinced you to leave behind? What dreams have you abandoned because the voice of fear was louder than the voice of faith? Because fear will always be there, doubt will always try to speak. But it is your choice which voice you listen to. You can let fear keep you where you are, or you can step forward in faith, knowing that the only thing that has ever defeated fear is action. Faith does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward even when fear is present. It means believing in something greater than your feelings. It means trusting that the one who called you is greater than the voices that try to stop you. The enemy of fear is not strength, it is faith. The enemy of doubt is not confidence, it is trust. And when you choose to trust, when you choose to move forward, when you choose to believe that what has been placed inside of you is greater than the fear that surrounds you, that is when you will see the power that has been waiting for you all along. There is something undeniable about the process of transformation. It is not merely change, it is a complete renewal, a breaking away from what was to step into what was always meant to be. True transformation does not come easily. It does not happen in comfort, nor does it come without struggle. Transformation is a refining process, one that takes what is broken, what is weak, what is incomplete, and turns it into something strong, something unshakable, something new. But transformation does not happen in an instant. It is not a simple shift or a moment of inspiration. It is a journey, often a painful one. Because before something can be rebuilt, it must first be broken. Before gold can be purified, it must first go through the fire. Before a seed can grow, it must first be buried in the dark. So many resist transformation because they fear the process. They want the results without the struggle, the victory without the battle, the strength without the testing. But transformation does not work that way. It requires the tearing down of the old before the new can rise. Look at the story of the caterpillar. It crawls on the ground, slow and limited, never knowing the wings that are inside of it. But before it can fly, it must enter the cocoon. And inside that cocoon, everything it was must break down. The old form must dissolve. The very structure of its being must be undone before it can become something greater. And when it emerges, it is no longer what it was. It has been transformed. Many people want to be transformed, but they do not want to go through the cocoon. They do not want the breaking, the isolation, the struggle. They want the wings, but they do not want the process. But without the process, there is no transformation. And yet transformation is promised. It is available to all who are willing to step into it. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what you have done, transformation is waiting. It does not matter if you have been weak, if you have failed, if you have been lost. What matters is whether you are willing to step forward and allow yourself to be made new. There are stories upon stories of men and women who were once bound by their past, trapped by their mistakes, limited by their own belief in themselves. But when they embraced transformation, when they allowed themselves to be reshaped, their entire lives changed. Moses was once a man who ran in fear, hiding in the wilderness, but he was transformed into a leader who stood before a great nation and led them to freedom. Paul was once a persecutor, a man who sought to destroy those who believed in something greater, but he was transformed into one of the greatest voices of truth the world has ever known. Even the weakest, the most broken, the most lost, when they allow themselves to be transformed, they step into a power they never knew they had. They become something greater, something stronger, something that cannot be stopped. But transformation is not only about the individual, it spreads. When one person is transformed, it ignites change in those around them. It is like a fire that starts with a single spark but grows into something unstoppable. One life change can lead to families restored, communities renewed, and entire generations set on a new path. But here is the greatest truth about transformation. It is never finished. It is not a one-time event, not a single moment, but a continual process. There is always another level, always another breakthrough, always another step towards something greater. So do not fear the process. Do not resist the breaking. Do not turn away from the refining fire, because on the other side of that struggle is something new, something stronger, something that cannot be broken. The power of transformation is not just in what you become. It is in what you leave behind, in the chains that are broken, in the limits that are shattered, and in the new life that rises from the ashes of the old. Greatness is never handed to anyone. It is not inherited, nor is it stumbled upon by accident. Greatness is forged in the fire of trials, in the struggle of adversity, in the weight of burdens that seem too heavy to bear. Those who rise to greatness do not do so because their path was easy, but because they endured when everything in them wanted to quit. Trials are not obstacles to greatness. They are the very road that leads to it. Every man and woman who has ever accomplished something significant has walked through pain, through loss, through moments of doubt, but instead of letting those trials break them, they let them shape them. Look through history, and you will find that no one who left a lasting impact did so without hardship. The greatest leaders, the strongest warriors, the most influential voices, all of them had to face battles before they could claim victory. The road to greatness is not paved with comfort, but with suffering. Not with ease, but with endurance. Think about the story of Joseph. He had a vision, a dream placed in his heart, but before he could see it fulfilled, he was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery and unjustly imprisoned. He spent years in chains, years forgotten, years wondering if the promise he had once believed in would ever come true. But every trial he faced was shaping him, preparing him, strengthening him, And when the time was right, he was elevated to a position of power, not because he avoided trials, but because he endured them. Or look at David, a shepherd boy anointed to be king, but before he could wear the crown, he spent years running for his life, hunting in caves, hunted by a jealous ruler who sought to destroy him. It would have been easy to give up, to say, "This is too much. This is not what I signed up for." But he kept going, and in the end he became one of the greatest kings who ever lived. Because trials do not come to destroy you, they come to build you, to refine you, to strip away the weaknesses that would have held you back, so that when the moment of greatness arrives, you are ready to step into it. But here's the hard truth. Trials will break the unprepared. They will crush the ones who do not understand their purpose. If you walk through trials with the mindset that they are unfair, that they are proof that you are not meant for something greater, then they will defeat you. But if you walk through trials knowing that they are part of the process, that every hardship is sharpening you, every setback is teaching you, every painful moment is making you stronger, then you will come out on the other side unshakable. Trials reveal character. When everything is stripped away, when comfort is gone, when security is lost, when the people around you walk away, what remains? That is the test. That is the proving ground. Some people ask, "Why me? Why must I go through this pain? Why must I face these battles?" But the question is not why me. The question is, what is this preparing me for? A soldier is not trained in times of peace. He is trained for war. He is pushed to his limits, tested beyond what seems possible. Because when the real battle comes, he cannot afford to be weak. In the same way, your trials are training you for something greater. They are equipping you with the endurance, the wisdom, the strength that you will need for the calling ahead. And it is in those darkest moments, the moments when you feel like you have nothing left, that you will find out what you are truly made of. Anyone can stand when life is easy. Anyone can believe when everything is going their way. But the ones who achieve greatness are those who keep standing when life is hard, because greatness is not given. It is earned through fire, through struggle, through the unshakable refusal to quit. Faith is not just belief. It is not just a thought or an idea. Faith is power, an unshakable force that defies logic, that stands in the face of the impossible and declares it will be done. But faith is not easy. It is not for the faint of heart. It is not for those who only believe when the road is clear, when the sun is shining, when the outcome is certain. Faith is for those who stand when everything is against them, who trust when there is no evidence, who walk forward when they cannot see the path ahead. There is a reason why faith is compared to moving mountains, because mountains represent obstacles that seem immovable. They are the barriers that stand in our way, the doubts, the fears, the failures, the voices that say, "You can't." But faith does not listen to those voices. Faith does not bow to circumstances. Faith looks at the mountain and says, "Move." But true faith is not just words. It is not just speaking something into existence without action. Faith requires movement. Faith requires stepping forward even before the mountain begins to shake. Look at the story of Peter walking on water. When he saw Jesus standing on the waves, he said, "Lord, if it is you, tell me to come." And Jesus said, "Come." Now, at that moment, Peter had a choice. He could have stayed in the boat, waiting for the waves to calm, waiting for the perfect conditions. But faith does not wait for certainty. Faith steps out. And the moment Peter stepped out of the boat, he walked on water. But notice this. Peter was walking on water not because the sea became solid, but because his faith was greater than his fear. It was only when he looked at the wind and the waves that he began to sink. And that is what happens when we take our eyes off faith and focus on the storm around us. Faith does not mean the storm will disappear. It does not mean the mountain will crumble instantly. It means that no matter how high the mountain, no matter how fierce the storm, you will keep moving forward. Because faith is not based on sight. It is based on trust. The world teaches us to rely on what we can see, what we can measure, what we can control. But faith is not about control. It is about surrender. It is about knowing that even when you cannot see a way, there is a way. Even when the doors are closed, they will open. Even when the odds are against you, victory is already written. Think about Abraham, who was told that he would be the father of nations, even though he and his wife were far beyond the years of having children. Every logical reason said it was impossible, but faith does not depend on logic, and because of his faith, the impossible became reality. Think about the walls of Jericho. They were fortified, unbreakable, impenetrable. And yet, faith did not call for an army to attack the walls. It called for obedience. It called for marching, for trusting, for believing that on the seventh day, when the trumpet sounded, those walls would come down. And they did. Faith that moves mountains is not just believing that something can happen. It is believing that it will happen, even when everything around you says otherwise. It is standing firm when others retreat. It is pressing forward when others give up. It is knowing that mountains do not move because of human strength, but because of divine power. But here is the truth. Faith must be tested. It must be proven in the fire of struggle. It is easy to have faith when life is good, but real faith is revealed in the moments of darkness, in the moments when you have every reason to quit, in the moments when the mountain seems bigger than ever. That is where faith is forged. That is where faith becomes unstoppable. The greatest mistake people make is waiting for their mountain to move before they act. They say, "I will believe when I see it," but faith does not work that way. Faith is moving before you see the results. It is taking the first step before the path is clear. It is speaking victory before the battle is won, because the truth is, the mountain is not the problem. The problem is whether you believe it can move. Some look at the mountain and surrender. Others look at the mountain and start climbing, but those who truly walk in faith, they command the mountain to move, and it does. There comes a moment in every life when a choice must be made, a moment when the time for hesitation is over, when the time for excuses has passed, when the weight of destiny rests so heavily upon a person that they can no longer sit still. That moment is now. Too many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for the fear to disappear, waiting for a sign. But waiting is not the path to greatness. Waiting does not build faith. Waiting does not move mountains. Action does. History is not written by those who sat on the sidelines. It is written by those who stepped forward when the rest of the world stood still, by those who dared to believe when others doubted, by those who refused to surrender to fear, to hesitation, to the voices that whispered, "You are not ready." But when will you be ready? When will the conditions be perfect? When will the world make it easy for you? The truth is, it won't. There will always be reasons to delay, always be obstacles in your path, always be voices telling you to stay where you are, but the time for waiting is over. This is a call to action. The greatest mistake people make is believing they have more time. They tell themselves, "I will start tomorrow." But tomorrow is never promised. Tomorrow is a lie that keeps people in chains. Tomorrow is the enemy of progress, because every day spent waiting is a day wasted. Look at the lives of those who achieved greatness. They were not people who sat back and hoped for things to happen. They were men and women of action. They stepped forward before they had all the answers. They moved forward before they had full clarity. They trusted, they fought, they endured. And because of that, they changed the course of history. Moses did not wait until he felt qualified. He moved when he was called. David did not wait until he had the best armor or the strongest army. He ran toward Goliath with only a sling and a stone. Nehemiah did not wait until he had all the resources. He saw the ruins of the walls of Jerusalem and said, "Let us rise and build." The world belongs to those who act, to those who step forward even when they are afraid, to those who understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to be ruled by it. And the truth is, if you do not act, someone else will. If you do not rise up, another will take your place. The opportunity will not wait for you. The calling will not linger forever. There is a window of time, a divine moment in which you must step forward, or the chance will pass you by. Many people go through life wondering, what if? What if they had started? What if they had spoken? What if they had taken the risk, stepped out in faith, pursued the dream, fought for the vision? The regret of inaction is far greater than the fear of failure, because failure is not the enemy. Failure is a lesson. Failure is a stepping stone. But inaction is the slow death of potential. It is the burial of purpose. It is the silent thief that steals dreams. So the question is not, will you face obstacles? The question is not, will it be difficult? The question is, Will you act in spite of it? Because everything you need has already been placed inside of you. The strength, the vision, the calling, it is already there. The only thing left is for you to rise up and walk in it. Do not wait. Do not delay. Do not let fear, doubt, or hesitation steal what was meant for you. The time is now. The calling is here. And the only question that remains is, will you answer it? Victory does not belong to the strongest. It does not belong to the fastest. It does not belong to the ones who start with the most resources or the best opportunities. Victory belongs to those who endure, to those who refuse to quit, to those who stand firm when everything inside of them wants to fall. Endurance is the difference between those who succeed and those who fail. It is not talent, not intelligence, not luck. It is the ability to keep moving forward when the road is rough, when the night is dark, when the storm is raging, and when every voice around you is saying, give up. Endurance is the ability to take hit after hit, to suffer loss after loss, to experience failure after failure, and still rise. It is the fire that burns in the heart of the one who refuses to surrender. It is the quiet strength of the man who has been beaten down but stands back up every single time. Because the truth is, the road to victory is not smooth. It is not easy. It is not a straight path. It is filled with obstacles, with hardships, with moments of pain that test everything inside of you. But the ones who endure, those are the ones who taste victory in the end. Look at the stories of those who achieved great things. None of them had an easy path. None of them reached their destiny without struggle. Every great man, every great woman, every great leader has walked through a season of suffering, of testing, of endurance. Joseph was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused and forgotten in prison for years. But he endured. He did not give up when his dream seemed impossible. He did not turn away from his purpose when everything looked lost, and in the end, he rose to power. Job lost everything, his wealth, his health, his family. His friends told him to curse God and die, but he endured. He did not let his suffering define him. He did not let his pain destroy his faith. And in the end, he was restored beyond what he had lost. Paul was beaten, imprisoned, shipwrecked, and persecuted. He faced trials that would have broken most men. But he endured. He did not let hardship silence his mission. He did not let suffering stop his purpose. And because of his endurance, his words still impact the world today. Because victory is not about how quickly you get there, it is about whether you keep going when everything inside of you wants to stop. Some people start the race with energy, with excitement, with fire in their hearts. But when the road gets hard, when the weight becomes heavy, when progress is slow, they quit. They lose sight of the goal. They forget the reason they started, and they turn back. But the ones who reach the finish line are not always the fastest. They are the ones who refuse to stop. The ones who take another step and another and another. Even when their legs feel weak, even when the race feels too long, even when everything inside them screams enough. Because endurance is not about how you feel. It is about what you decide. It is about choosing to keep moving forward no matter what. And endurance is not built in times of ease. It is forged in the fire of struggle. A tree that is never tested by the wind grows weak. A warrior who never faces battle never becomes strong. A man who is never pushed to his limits never discovers how much he is truly capable of. The trials, the hardships, the pain, they are not there to destroy you. They are there to shape you, to strengthen you, to prepare you for the victory that is waiting on the other side. Many people pray for victory, but they do not pray for endurance. They want the reward without the test. They want the promise without the process. But victory only comes through endurance. And here is the truth. Your endurance will be tested. There will be moments when you want to quit, moments when everything seems too hard, moments when the road ahead feels impossible. But if you keep going, if you keep standing, if you refuse to surrender, then in the end you will taste the victory that was meant for you all along. The road to victory is not for the weak. It is not for those who hesitate, for those who shrink back in the face of struggle, for those who surrender when the journey becomes difficult. It is for those who endure, for those who refuse to quit, for those who press forward even when the weight is heavy, even when the path is unclear, even when the battle seems unwinnable. You have been called to something greater. You have been chosen for a purpose far beyond what you can see right now. But that purpose will require endurance. It will require faith that stands firm in the storm. It will require courage that does not waver in the face of fear. The challenges before you are not there to break you. They are there to make you. The mountains in your way are not there to stop you. They are there to prove what is inside of you. Every setback, every trial, every hardship is a test of your strength, a test of your faith, a test of your endurance. And if you endure, if you stand when others fall, if you keep moving when others stop, if you refuse to give up no matter how hard the road becomes, then victory is certain. Not because the journey will be easy, not because the obstacles will disappear, but because endurance always leads to triumph. So rise up. Stand strong. Keep walking. Keep fighting. Keep believing. Because the ones who endure are the ones who see the promise fulfilled. The ones who refuse to quit are the ones who taste the victory that was waiting for them all along.